Hello, I'm Terry Carter, also known as Farmer Terry, and you can find me on social media at Farmer Terry Grows and Cooks, on YouTube at Terry Carter 2010. That's TerriCarter. I'm a master gardener in Cobb County. I'm the educational coordinator for the American Community Gardening Association. I'm also an avid seed saver, and my job is in family and consumer science, so I do everything basically seed to table. I'm an avid seed saver. That's my favorite thing to do because we've lost a lot of our seed diversity over just the last 100 years. 85% of our seed diversity has disappeared within the last 100 years or so, and that's just sad. So what I want to be doing today is basically getting you started. If you've never gardened before and you decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to start gardening for the first time, but you have no idea what to do, well, that's what we're going to go over today, and we're going to kind of help you out. So the first thing you want to do here is to select a site. So once you select the site where you're going to garden, either in a community garden, it could be in your backyard, your front yard, on a patio, on a deck, and even in a container. You can garden just about anywhere. But the main thing that you're going to need to start gardening will be sunlight. Of course, sunlight, got to have that. So that is your first choice after you decide what site you're going to grow on. Make sure that site will support what you're trying to grow. So you'll need about 8 hours of sunlight. Sometimes you can get away with 6 hours of sunlight for things that don't flower a lot, like herbs and greens. But generally speaking, you will need about 8 hours of direct sunlight throughout the day. So what you want to do is go to your plot and determine how much light you have. You can go out there in the morning, you can go out in the afternoon, and then again in the evening to see how much sunlight you're getting. And if you need to take a notebook out there, go ahead and take that notebook and write down, I saw sun at 8 o'clock, at 11, at 12, 2, whatever, so you know about how many hours you're getting. Okay, once you've determined I'm getting enough sunlight, then the next thing you want to do is to make sure you have some good soil. You may have to add some compost, or you may have to buy new soil depending on where you're planting, whether something's been planted there before or whether or not this is actually a raised bed in a community garden and you don't know what was planted there before and you don't know what kind of nutrients were added. At that point, what you might want to do is to get yourself a soil sample, and then do a soil test. Now, the best way to do that is to have it done through your county extension office, and I just happen to work for Cobb County Extension. So you can come here. The soil tests are $9. We send them off every Thursday morning to UGA, and what they do is analyze your soil. It will tell you what you're deficient in, what needs to be added to the soil, and it'll give you those recommendations as to what you need to put in your soil to get it up to par. So once you have your soil test, or not, if you decide not to do it, you don't have to. You can add a lot of nutrients just to make sure if you like. I like to add compost, and you can definitely get some cow manure at Home Depot or Lowe's or any of your local stores that sell gardening supplies. Add some of that. You can add topsoil. You can add a lot of different things to get your soil conditioned. Just like our bodies, we have to have nutrients. We can't just live on water alone. Same thing with your plants. Your plants have to have nutrients. So you want to add some nutrients to it. I compost myself at home. I have a compost pile, and it's very simple. I throw out all of my kitchen scraps, like things like my vegetable scraps, my onion peels, all that kind of thing, not meat, but vegetables and fruits. And then I have yard waste, everything from grass to leaves. All of that stuff is thrown in my compost pile, and I leave it there and I walk away. There are a lot of different elaborate ways to compost. That's a simple way of doing it. So you want to make sure you got great soil before you start, and you want to be adding nutrients to your soil as the year goes on. You don't need a lot of compost. You probably only need maybe a ½ inch total of compost. That may seem like not a lot, but it really is when it comes to helping out your soil. All right, and you want to make sure you have a good water supply. No water, no plants, all right? So if you can't get water to that garden, your garden is not going to thrive. So you want to have a good water source nearby. Now, you're not going to be able to rely on buckets of water or pails of water unless you're doing container gardening. And I can tell you, even on my deck, doing container gardening, going inside, getting water, coming back, going back, that takes a lot. When it's 95, 100 degrees outside, as most of you know, in the South, it can get that hot. You're not going to want to be carrying those pails of water, and you can't really rely on Mother Nature to provide that water for you. So a good source of water, meaning a spigot, needs to be nearby. Also, you want it to be near your home. You don't want to have to walk a long way to tend to your garden. For example, if you live 10 miles away from the community garden, guess what? You're probably not going to come out there a lot. But if you live within 2-3 miles from that community garden, or if you pass by it every day going back and forth to work, you're going to be more apt to stop and take care of it. So try and get something that's closer to you so you have access to it, all right? And then you want to make your garden part of your landscape. So if you already have a house and your house has a backyard and you have some things already out there, what you want to do is make sure your garden is fitting into that landscape. So I would just take a notepad and draw my yard, how it looks now, and what you're going to add. What size is it going to be? So are you going to have a small garden plot, or are you going to have a larger garden plot? But just know, when you first start out, the smaller the better, because you can manage it. Weeds get in the way, and you got to get out there and pull those weeds. And it's all good when you first start your plot in March or April, when the weather is nice, there are not a lot of bugs out there. But baby, once it get to be July, August, that's when it's going to be really hot. That's when you're going to see a lot of insects out there, and that's when your plants are going to be drying out as well. So you really have to take care of your plants when it's really, really hot outside. And that is how you start your garden. You want to make sure, like I said, get yourself some good soil, some good compost. And if you don't know what was in there before, make sure you go ahead and get that soil test. It's only $9, and it's going to tell you a lot. And it also tells you what you need to add to your soil to get it up to par. So let's go over this one more time. Good sunlight, 8 hours of sunlight, good soil with some nutrients in it and compost, a good supply of water close by, close to your home, and also part of your landscape. So if you can start with just those few things, you're going to be on your way to gardening. And of course, you want to buy yourself some gardening gloves, those kind of things that you need. Also, gardening tools, hand tools is something you'll need to start out with. And also, you have to decide whether or not you're going to be starting from seeds or starting from transplants. Now, if you decide to start from seeds, you want to go ahead and get started earlier, starting those seeds inside. Some of them can be, some of them needs to be direct sown, but I start my tomato plants and my bell peppers and all different kinds of plants inside first, and then I transplant them once the weather warms up. So we'll be doing some more of these videos and helping you to get started gardening, and this is video number 1, and I hope I've been very helpful. And if you have any questions, you can hit me up on social media. I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook. And my name is Terri, Terri, middle initial Y as in Yvonne, and last name Carter. All right, thank you so much. Bye-bye.